That's hitting all the buttons today. All right, back. Copy link over here. Okay. All right, everybody open? Yeah, I believe so. All right, I think we're okay. Good morning, good morning. Just getting all set up over here. All right. Here's my dog. Oh, Bosh, how you doing? All right, so just kind of looking at my reference here a little bit yesterday. I want to kind of integrate some more of this ochre into here, but also maybe work on the drawing a little bit in there. And then maybe come back and clean up the background a little bit. But definitely jumping back into this kid today. And so I need some brown, I think. Some brownish colors at the very least. Black. This brown. Yellow, alizarin. Then I mix some. Oh, there it is. There it is. I found it. Just took me a minute to figure out where it was at. So. There it goes. That's good. All right. All right, so that's good. All right. Let's get some of this warmth on here, huh? Good morning. Alright, feels much better. Got some warmth on there. It's just a little cold back there. Alright. That feels much better. Good morning, good morning. bed in there. Good morning. A little airbrushing this morning. Right. There it is. Good morning. Good morning. A little bit wet, but good for the black. Let's see how this one does. It's too thick. A little bit thick in there. Thick. That seems okay. This birch maybe. So yeah, part of it's me just experimenting a lot with the airbrush. I don't have, you know. Interesting effect, I think. I appreciate it. Just experimenting with the airbrush. I've never really used one very much before, so been training myself on it for a while. And, decided to do an illustration where I'm mostly using it. So it's a little bit of an experiment for me. I noticed I kind of bring it to a close. It kind of squirts out a lot. So yes, this is my my little learning project here. Hopefully, I don't make too much of a mess of it, but so I am a sucker for learning new things. Where am I? There. Sure, I've got everybody up over here. So, yeah, happy Sunday, everybody. This is kind of doing like a little bit of a splurge right when I go towards it. Not sure why it does that, but I can see if I open it up or something and let go of it. Sure. Practice here. There's a little splurge at the end. Happy Saturday. Or Sunday. It's already 9 p.m. Wow. Yeah, it's morning here. Got some car stuff to do today outside. Could just be the thickness of the paint too in here. I'm using acrylic paint. on this. So yeah, I just noticed it does like this weird thing where it's like as I'm going along, and then I let go, it does like a little bit of a splurge at the end. I don't know if it's something in my technique or what, because I'm not a airbrush specialist by any means at all. I was thinking everything here. Things up a little bit, especially these trees. A little bit too much water in this paint too, but it's you know, it is what it is. So this is me just trying to figure things out. What do I do if I make a mistake? Well, I'm probably making mistakes right now. So there's that. But yeah, you fix it, right? Or one of the things that you kind of learn as you grow as an artist is you learn to take advantage of your mistakes. And so that's something to always kind of factor in is there's mistakes and then there are mistakes, right? Water. Pour in some of this. This is coming out much better than black. Part of using my old black tube of paint for this. And so it where'd that card go? Let's make some like landscape indicators over here. Definitely flows a lot better than the black. Maybe I should try. I've got like a little tube of black. Black paint was the problem. Might have been. So you have this old tube of black acrylic and it's a little chunky in there. A little white in there. Next one. The burnt umber. There's this black. There it is. Let's see how this one does in here, huh? hopefully I'll figure this out eventually, right? That's kind of the goal. Come on, paint, come out. See if I can get it really close in here. Oof, intense. You know, it's interesting when you're not actually proficient in something, you're trying to do something that has carries a certain kind of stress. Definitely good for empathizing with my students. Good morning. Just making a lot of noise this morning. Yeah. That out, I think. Switch over to darker colors. I'm really just experimenting a lot here, so we'll see how far this goes. So get some of that paint out of here. that lid back on before I stab my fingers off, right? Which I've done before. I'm going to put the lid down. There it is. About to put my finger on the needle, which, you know, besides being harmful to the needle, was great. Lighter colors up, put a darker color in. Making a mess, right? How are we doing this morning, by the way, while I'm swapping colors here? Alright, I want to warm this stuff back up a little bit in here. I'll start with the lighter one. Ah, that was not what I intended at all. Okay. Try that again. Warmth out. Burnt umber's turn. Where's the brown? Oh, okay, maybe. There it is. go. Alright, we'll see how I feel about that. I think maybe later. Maybe some blue or something, I guess, but you know. Good morning. Noisy. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Making a lot of noise today. How we doing? Good morning. Sorry, Bosh, about the noise. I don't think my dog appreciates all the noise I'm making. Hi, Bosh. What's out the window, huh? Good morning, good morning. Sorry, I'm making all this noise. I feel like I'm getting warmed up into this, though, finally. Good morning. Take It's amazing how little paint it takes to actually work for a long time with the color. Alright, let's see if I can lighten this up a little bit. Too much of that blue, but how do we do time? Almost there. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Where's my little piece of there it is, little card. I like that effect. It's interesting anyway. A little extra in there. Interesting, right? A little dry in there, I guess. Maybe. Good morning, good morning. Morning. Play this on these edges a little bit. What do we think? Airbrush a good idea or bad idea to learn? I'm having fun, but something out over here. All right. Listening to. What is this? Who's that? Had nothing to do with anything I was listening to there. That was weird. Put that on. The soundtrack. That was weird. Alright, Posh. Yeah, after I'm done with this, I get to go do a little car repair. Oh, paint. Clean this up, so. Interesting. I sure will come back in and tape things up and build it back up again, but good morning. problem, huh? I do for time. 7, right? Another 20 minutes or so. Clean up this little thingy here. How are you doing down there, Bosch? You've been making too much noise. Let's put this up here. Let's clean that a bit. So, what to do next here? I think I might go back into that dark stuff just to see what I can pull out of it. You remember this brown being pretty good for paint with. Let's see, shift that a little bit. Okay, go. Good morning. Interesting effects you can go with that, right? It's always nice to learn something a little bit new. to see why people do things the way they do. This is a good learning exercise for me. Touch here. There's actually the trick to a lot of really good art is developing a lighter touch. It's easy to have a heavy hand, so you kind of default to that. And so it takes a lot of practice to develop that lighter sensitivity to things, I think. I think that's kind of part of what I was trying to figure out on this tool. It's new to me. How do you draw with it? How do you put it in? The right color, just the right amount. And then how do you control the flow? And seems like, you know, that's the hardest part of like learning new mediums. That sensitivity to handling it. Which, you know, takes time, right? Doesn't matter what the medium is, whether you're, you know, painting with oils or the computer or the ZBrush or whatever. You know, it takes a lot of effort to be sensitive to the materials in a way that gives you, you know, the most expressive capacity out of it. And I'm gonna get that carbon black I've got over there in the tube. See if that does a better job than the other thing I've been doing. Then work clothes after this. Get out there and get my car all fixed up. The one of my catalytic converters having an issue. Hello, over there on Twitch. How are we doing? I got a couple people all of a sudden. Been at this for about a little over an hour. I'm finally getting the feel of this airbrush thing a bit, so I'm gonna add some of this black in with this. I haven't opened this black yet, so I was using this tube black that I pre-mixed, but it's like a really old tube, and I think it's gumming up, so it's kind of makes it harder to use. But I do have this this one right here to put in here. So I'm gonna do a couple of drops of that. A little bit of water. And mix it up. Yep. A nice brackish color. I always like brackish colors. Yeah, it's always been something I've wanted to try too. So we're looking at someone who's really new to it. I've done like a bunch of exercises and things to kind of practice it over the last few months, you know, here and there. But I was just talking a second here ago about the hard part with it being kind of developing that soft touch. And because, you know, you're not in physical contact with your surface, it's a little bit of a different experience for me. So, yeah, so it is an airbrush. Again, I've always wanted to kind of mess with. I mostly actually really originally I bought it because I saw you could do like splatter stuff with it. You turn down the air pressure really low, and then you do this flipping thing on the trigger. I was like, oh, that'd be nice to have, or you know, just like to put some white over some or black tones over inks and things like that was the original reason. But I've also just been looking at like a bunch of old school sci-fi work. Better. Anyway, yeah, so I've been looking at a bunch of like old school sci-fi stuff and kind of how they would use it in their illustrations. And so I thought, oh, you know, I'll do one of my little imaginative acrylic paintings here. I'm trying to use this as much as I can. Well, you know, you kind of paint in one area, right? It dries really quick. It's acrylic, and so you can slow down the drawing, you know, by adding different things in if you really want to. But you know, but yesterday was my birthday. I had a weird migraine all day yesterday. I'm feeling much better today. I would cough and like it would give me a headache or sneeze or whatever. I don't know if I was getting sick or something, but I feel really good today. So maybe it's because it's my birthday. And then ruler just fell off. Sorry about that, buddy. Hopefully my dog gets used to things falling down in the studio. But yeah, looking at kind of how people use or, you know, develop skills with airbrushing. I plan to use, you know, a mix of both airbrush and acrylic, but, you know, regular painting, which I did a little bit of last time. I paint this, some of the background stuff with regular paint brushes. But trying to see how much I can do without having to fall back on my brushes. So gonna be a little blurry, and then I'll probably come back and I was masking originally painting this. I kind of did my drawing, got it all colored up initially, and then using masks and things to kind of block out the sky. I was looking the wrong way. I'm looking at us, but we'll play it out some more. But again, you know, I'm not, you know, definitely not a airbrush expert, but I was looking, you know, looking at how kind of people, the skills people say you need to kind of get good at it. There's like only a handful of, I guess, techniques really that they use, like just a few. One is like, you know, putting down little dots in like a very, so one thing is like how you hold it, obviously, with your finger, and then you kind of do little evenly spaced, similarly sized dots as like a practice thing. And then, you know, connecting, turning things on, turning the air on and off, or turning the paint on and off with the air staying on. That's like another practice thing. And then there's rat tails, which is where you kind of push it down and then, you know, remove the air, remove the paint. You know, trying to kind of avoid like turning off the trigger completely. You make little rat tails and like curves. And I'm working really small here, so there can be certain limits on what I can do as far as detail. And then you can also pull off the cap here, and you can pull the needle in really close to get a smaller line. Being able to get like a bigger effect versus, you know, a smaller effect. So the closer you get, the smaller your thing. But you also need a lot less pressure on there, so you can make little marks. So like, there's not that many kind of, I guess, main techniques, and then masking, you know, creating masks and things to put on places. Like if I wanted to get a really sharp line on this edge right here, you know, I could use this little card, put this here, or use tape, right? And then I can put the paint down. You get a really nice sharp edge right there. And you do similar things like back here, like I've got a straight line on his leg, so I could send this further back. And then you got a sharp edge. So it's the only place I really actually make a mess. One of the things you can do is you kind of mix the paint by put your finger on the cover, make sure the hood's on there, not the needle's bare, and you just like hold this down. You can mix the paint, bubbles up inside. That's like another technique-y thing you can do. But I like the idea of being able to like slap down big gradients, like kind of like what I do if I'm digitally painting, you know, with an airbrush, where you can put down kind of layers of atmosphere with it across different, you know, different depths of your picture, and create instant kind of atmospheric effects. So that's kind of what I want it for now. But I thought it'd be, you know, my little morning studies would be a good little project. Probably made it more complicated than I have. I want to work a little bit larger. But I can always kind of come back in with the paint. But I feel like I was kind of just getting to that right kind of sensitivity to the trigger here. And it's a relatively inexpensive one, so like a really good airbrush probably costs $150, like as a beginner. This is a brand called Gallery, and this one seemed like it was highly recommended, so it was $75 for the airbrush itself. And the compressor is an inexpensive one. I'm sure there's much better ones, but I thought this, you know, these would be a good set of learning tools to start with. So I thought that would be a good idea. So yeah, so I've been thinking about what I wanted to do for my next little study project, because I've been doing those acrylic paintings, and I really want to kind of shift from doing those to doing pieces related to my concept project, my comic project. And so I thought this might be a good one to do. So here we are. That's the whole story here. And I've been spending a ton of time over the last, I don't know, month or so, kind of reworking my website stuff. And the big thing is I've been working on my lessons website. I have a whole bunch of stuff on perspective drawing. Actually, it's been an old customer, because I was working with a company last fall, and they had bought the course through them on Kajabi, and when we ended our business relationship with that, when I ended that business relationship, I emailed all the people that have bought courses, you know, gave them an extra bonus offer to, you know, get a little better deal on the subscriptions on my site, but also a link and a voucher for their own course that they had purchased, so that it's still on the website. Yeah, I mean, well, certain things are, but you know, you think about it, you know, like people have an iPad, right? An iPad, like a really good one. You know, if you're planning on doing anything professional with it, it's like almost $2,000, especially with tech stuff. But yeah, but yeah, so she had reached out and said, hey, I saw I couldn't get access to my course anymore. This has been like, I sent her the code like back in November. Well, I sent them all the codes back in November. And they missed it, I guess. I appreciate that. Over on Instagram. Not all the Instagram comments seem to make it over to the main chat thing for some reason. But yeah, so I've been back working on that. I started working on the final in a series of courses. And then I've mostly been working on the front end pages, trying to make them more readable for people. And then almost done with that now. At least this version of it. And that's the page kind of linked at the bottom of the screen there. But my course stuff, the lessons I'm doing there, like, it doesn't require expensive materials, so probably gonna have like a little sale here in a week or so. We're done with the semester, kind of an end of semester. So I'm trying to work on getting a Discord thing set up based off of kind of membership levels, because there's like a free level and then there's the paid one. And trying to get that figured out. There's a plugin and it's supposed to work, but it's not working. So like it shows it working, like it's like within itself it says it's active, but it's not actually doing the thing. It's free, so I guess I can't complain that much. And I'm wondering if maybe they ceased developing it because they I checked their website and like there wasn't they have like paid versions for other systems, but not. But yeah, so if you haven't been over there, check that out. Looking mostly on the learn more about the course pages page today. After I fix my car, I've got I need to do my actually did my inspections last week, but there was a little repair that needed to happen. I didn't want to pay the mechanic to fix it, so I've made time in my schedule today to do it. I was going to do it actually earlier. To it. So today is the day after I'm done here. Maybe if I'm done using up the paint in here, we'll probably call it for the morning. Yeah, my teaching site, it's about perspective drawing mostly. But if you have trouble with drawing like backgrounds or scenes or understanding perspective, like it's specifically for that. And 6 full courses on their resource page. I have a monthly series I need to get back to. It's been on hold for a bit, but I've got a bunch of stuff I can put up there for that. So I'm excited to get back to doing that this summer. And then, of course, working on my comic. Those are kind of my major projects. It's starting to feel like something. I want some kind of like biomechanical sensitivity. freeze, so that's why the text on there. Good morning. But yeah, the thing with if you buy good art supplies, they will last you forever. For the most part, it's like brushes or paint. So something like this airbrush right here. Maybe one day I'll have to replace one of the springs or seals or something in it. But a good one, if it's half decent, it'll last basically forever. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it there for this morning. And I'm gonna go take care of my outside chores, which include mowing the lawn and fixing the car. None of these should take that long, but they all have to happen. And only I am going to do them, so none of you are willing to show up and do my chores for me for some reason. So, but thanks everybody that came in. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you all next time.